was raised in a racetrack family, and my dad was a trainer in the 60s, early 70s. And Steve Treasure and Johnny Ward were main riders for my dad amongst them. I was associated with a lot of very good riders at a very early age, and I liked them and wanted to do what they did. So from the time I was 4 or 5 years old, I wanted to be a jockey, and as I got older, even 9, 10 years old, it became a goal for me to become a jockey. When I first turned 16, I got my license at Levois Park, and that was where I rode my first races. And I wasn't accepted real well. My mounts were far and few in between. For 2 or 3 weeks, I probably only rode 5, 6 horses, and Al Carruthers was running some horses in Montana. They were very good horses in Futurity and Derby stock, and Jimmy Lewis was his rider. And Jimmy got in an accident and broke his leg, and so I had the opportunity to go ride the fair circuit in Montana. And my last mount that I had in Boise before I left, it was a long shot, 20, 25 to 1, and the trainer had never won a race. Obviously, the jockey had never won a race. The owner had bought this horse he had never, which was Bob Reed. He ended up owning good horses in the future. But the only one of any of us that had ever won a race was the horse. And sure enough, the horse ran off with me and won just before I left to go to Montana. And, you know, just as with I was 16 years old and with a map and headed to Helena, Montana, it was really an exciting time for me. I'd galloped there for 2 or 3 months and, you know, itching to ride a horse. And Johnny got days. And so I got to ride a few horses for Danny, and Frank Monteleone noticed that noticed me in that period of time, and immediately started putting me on some of those horses that no one else cared to ride. And I think I won 3 or 4 races for him out of 5 or 6 races. It was a very exciting time to get to ride good horses at a premier racetrack with very, very good riders. Refrigerator was just any rider would have loved to have had the opportunity to get to ride him, and that kind of horse, he gave it, he laid it all on the line. And as the races showed later in his career, when he didn't have to run trials for a race, there wasn't any horses that could match him if he had his goal, and which he is a smart horse and would always stand up in the gate and leave hard and run hard, and just a pleasure to ride. And I was just very lucky that Jim Hilser liked me well enough to let me be the pilot, because anybody in the jocks room could have rode that horse. He was just an amazing animal.
I really thought it'd be a lot tighter race than that, because all the horses in there that qualified, they all looked like they should belong in the race, and I wouldn't have traded my horse for any of the other horses. But
well, let's take a look at it. You can tell us what happened.
He stood super. He broke all right. He wanted to run in just a little bit. He had a tendency to a little bit ago. He wanted to run in just a little bit, and I slapped him a little bit left-handed with that uncock of my stick, and he was in front for every jump of the way. And on the end of it, it was all over. And I was.
Could you tell what was happening to Jackie Martin?
I heard it happen. I heard him hit the rail, and I didn't know for sure what happened. It was all behind me.
You never hit Refrigerator?
No, I didn't.
So and that was what you'd hoped to do.
Dash for Speed was it's a wonderful story and a wonderful memories for me. And I got to ride her when she got sent to Blaine's barn, and all his riders were already taken on other grade 1 horses. And so Blaine chose me, and I know that the owner did not want me to ride Dash for Speed. He didn't know who I was, and he wanted a named rider to ride her. And Blaine stuck to his guns and let me ride, and that first time I got to ride her, she breaks the track record and runs through her bridle and really runs good, and then she runs Company of Champions. She's really nervous in the gate, and Blaine's passed away now, so I can tell everybody what happened. But in the gate, she is not wanting to look down the racetrack, and Blaine would just get furious at those headers when they would touch his horse's heads. And very good header, and he reached up and grabbed her ear, just cupped it enough that she looked down the racetrack, and Obviously, she just literally beats the gates.
And away they go, and Champion of Champions 19 and Jazzing High came away well. See Me Do It down along the inside. Dash for Speed putting in a big run in the middle of the track. He is a joy. He's also trying to close. Dash for Speed, $1 million mare. See Me Do It slugging out badly, causing quite a bit of interference there. But that's Dash for Speed. T. Roy Brett Apprehend coming up on the outside, but Dash for Speed, $1 million tonight.
He put me in the record books for the only rider to win All-American and Champion of Champions in the same year. I qualified Ed Grimley, Hollandaise, and Corona Chick all to a fraternity. And Ed Grimley, the only time he'd ever been beat was in the All-American fraternity, and he had an excuse. He got beat like a neck and had an excuse. So it was a real tough decision. And I went with my gut, and I went with Corona Chick, and she ran through her bridle and beat him bad and ran really fast, and that's just the way she was. She was a fast mare filly, and she didn't go to slowing down till her 3-year-old year when she had some physical problems start showing up, and she beat the best that there was with problems. If she would have stayed sound, there's no doubt in my mind she was the fastest horse I ever rode. While I was riding at Los Alamitos, I had a license plate that read, "I'm always one win away from happiness." And that's pretty much sums up what I could win 3 or 4 races a night, and that last race be riding a horse and get beat. And all night I was mad at myself about that one race that got away from me. Whether I wasn't greedy. It wasn't that I had to win every race, but that was my purpose of being there. I was there to win every race, and it was fun. There was a couple different nights where I did win, 5 and 6 races, and that's all the horses I was on. And there was no better feeling than to win every race that you rode. And I love the horse business, and I love the racehorse business, and I love the people, but I just have never desired to make a living at it. I can see someday in the future, maybe when I'm not working the real estate as hard as I am now, to where maybe I'll buy a horse and have fun with it. But it will definitely be a fun thing. It will not be going at it trying to make a living.